welcome back to the Edamame Anime Club, where we've given up our pop star status to film this episode. I'm your co-host Steve, and I'm joined by my other co-host
Alexander. As always, great to be here. So we got a doozy for you guys today.
Definitely. Kampai.
Kampai.
Oh, so good. So what anime we're doing today?
We're gonna be doing Perfect Blue, a 1997 film. Heard a bunch about it. I've never gotten on my way to watch it, but
man,
it's been infamous. I know that there's some infamous scenes. Didn't really dig too much into it on the background from it. I think you were telling me it's been banned in a few countries.
I mean, I looked for what countries it was banned in. I couldn't find it, but I'm sure it has to be banned.
It has to be banned. Okay.
Has to be banned. So this is already like, I know we're not giving out spoilers yet, but it definitely I can see it being banned.
Yeah, for sure.
So quick little background of the story. This anime follows Mima, who is a pop star idol who gives up the pop star status lifestyle to now pursue a career as an actress, where she's filming the set of it's like a thriller.
Yeah, the film that she's doing is like a thriller,
and a lot of interesting things happen. I'll say it there so I don't give away too much.
Yeah. So little background info about it. It's done by Studio Madhouse, which I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with it. They've done plenty of shows. High School of the Dead is one. Overlord, Card Captor Secure, I believe. Trigun, the old Trigun from
nice.
97. Yeah. And if you're currently paying attention to the airing season, Madhouse is doing Freerend.
Oh.
So that's one that's on my watch list. I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm interested in that one. So Madhouse is a pretty well-known company, animation studio. So again, Perfect Blue was written by Satoshi Kon. He's also a pretty infamous director. He also does the movie Paprika, if you haven't seen that one. So that one's also another famous one.
Is it a thriller?
I don't know. I've seen people say like, oh, don't watch Perfect Blue, just watch Paprika instead. So I assume it's probably got some similar elements. And it's also the same director, so I could see that being a thing. So directed by Satoshi Kon. Came out in 1997, and the film deals with blurring the line between fantasy and reality. So
that's
so as far as its reception, it won. Let's see here. It was critically acclaimed in the festival circuit, winning awards in the 1997 Fantasia Festival in Montreal, Canada, and Fantasporto Film Festival in Portugal. Another interesting fact that I thought was the American filmmaker Darren Aronofsky acknowledged the similarities in his 2010 film Black Swan. You were mentioning that. He also stated that in the film Requiem for a Dream, he does a remake of the scene of Mimi sitting in the bathtub. So he takes that from Perfect Blue and puts it in the film Requiem for a Dream.
Like giving like homage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like a little Easter egg, I guess, if you want to call it that.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that scene too.
Yeah. That was a pretty good scene. Yeah. Other than that, I don't really have any more background info.
All right. So I guess we could just jump right into our reviews. So there's a lot to take in. Like there's a lot.
Yeah.
It follows it was convoluted in some parts. I won't say when, and we'll talk about that as we go along. But as a whole, I mean, the animation brought me back to the 90s.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which brought back this helped. The nostalgia factor came into effect, and I started thinking about back when I used to watch anime from the beginning. You know, Neon Genesis was one, like the way it's made. It just looked like it was made with like a lot of love and time and energy. There was no CGI. So
very, very hand drawn. I like that they went for the very realistic approach. Like there's everyone's trying to look like traditionally like Japanese and like people. Also the shot of like Mimi's apartment from like the background, like it looks like a real city. Like you could have fooled me. Honestly.
It looked amazing. Yeah, it was awesome. So the animation, obviously, the music.
Like, the music was pretty good. Very jarring. You know, it was like a psychological kind of anime. So
well, the not just like the whole like the scoring as well, like but like also like the music that they sing, like the actual song that they sing.
Oh yeah,
it's great. It's like if you like pop, like Like it was so good. I
Yeah.
liked it.
Actually, the intro song that they're singing, I've heard it before. I don't know where, but I've recognized it.
I've never heard it till now, and I'm gonna forever listen to it in my car. Well,
Yeah.
while I
So
drive to work.
you're one of those people though.
I am. I get very immersed in the music. So with that being said, the story was great. I fell in love with the main character.
Yeah.
She was also I'm a huge horror fan too, so multiple horror tropes throughout this.
Yeah.
And I can see like horror movies that came after this taking some scenes
Mm-hmm.
from it. I can't pinpoint which ones, but there's some scenes whether they took it or not, but there were a lot of horror tropes throughout. Um, Everything was great. I have really no negative feedback on this except small things that I think I can overlook. So this is going to be probably one of my highest rating I've given, if not tied with the highest. 4.75 edamames.
4.75.
Yep.
All right, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one con that I have, I wouldn't say it was boring in the beginning. It was slow. It was almost like kind of like a train beginning to go. Like the wheel has to turn a few times, and it just has to set it up. But once it gets going, like it is really good. Like I was surprised by how good it was.
Yeah, I mean, and there's multiple like scenes that like made you question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Like I said, it was a little, I don't know if convoluted is the word, but I was like, okay, where's it going? Like let's, get to it. And then it does get to it, and it's amazing. I'm going to give it a 4.5 edamames.
that one I think is your highest.
Yeah, that is my highest. Yeah.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah. I can't really think of anything negative to say about it. I enjoyed the story, the characters. Like I related to Mimi Chan. I think I wrote it in here. I empathize with Mima. So I wrote that down. So
yeah, and I like it did follow like a lot of 90s to me is the best era, hands down. Not just in anime, but just like in cinema and film and like all the plots and stories they had. But a lot of it followed like a typical story of someone transitioning their career out of the spotlight of being a pop idol.
Yeah.
You've seen it before, like with Britney Spears and any other like icon that was like early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
How they transitioned into like acting and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And it did really well, and it was kind of like this story just followed like it could be an actual full length like full cinema movie.
Yeah.
And I would watch it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our review.
Yeah. One of the things that it does really well is it adds like a layer of confusion in how like it's transitioning. Like you find yourself questioning things in the exact same way the character is. Like you kind of feel like you're there, like you're part of like the madness of it all. That was like really really cool.
Oh yeah, I got so invested in that scene. Like the scenes, some of the scenes I could not stop watching.
Yeah,
I got too invested in them.
for sure.
And the ending.
The ending might have been a little rushed, but it was good enough for me.
Oh, I thought the ending was perfectly paced, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
And because I was thinking how it was gonna end, and I was like, there were scenes where it could have ended, like a certain scene, and then we wouldn't, they could have ended multiple times, and the story would still be great.
Yeah.
So 4.75, 4.5.
4.5.
All right. What are other people saying about it?
All right. So I always get my reviews off of IMDb. I'm gonna go from a 1-star rating to a 4, and then I think it's an 8, the last one I read. But we'll start out with this bad review. This one's 1 out of 10 by B Burns. He says, "I'm sorry I saw this movie. Some friends of mine are very into Japanese style of animation known as anime. I have always loathed it. Nonetheless, I went to see this film with an open mind because my friend who took me promised me it was anime for people who don't like anime. Well, at least the Japanese characters looked Japanese, contrary to anime convention. They were not redheaded, blue-eyed, and they had Japanese names. Other than that, though, the movie was uniformly awful. All the psycho thriller cliches were there. I knew 20 minutes into the movie how it would all turn out. The dialogue was awkward too, but that may have been the translation. But worst of all was the animation. There was little in this film that couldn't have been done better in live action. The only reason to make this film a cartoon was to save money on the sets and actors. My friend wants to take me to see Princess Mononoke next week. I think I'll tell him I'm sick."
It's so funny.
Yep.
So, if y'all don't know this, we filmed a Princess Mononoke episode.
Yes, we
go
did.
watch it. It's one of our first movies we've done.
Yeah, one of the first movies you did. Yeah.
So this would be our second.
Yeah.
So that's hilarious. That he did that. Is that why you picked this?
Yeah, that is why. Yeah, I thought that was a little funny.
That's hilarious, man. So a couple of things I'll take in. So obviously, if you're an anime fan, take this with a grain of salt because this clearly is not an anime fan.
Yeah, he's not an anime fan. He even calls it a cartoon at the end of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, this guy's got a huge prejudice.
Yeah, so obviously he was probably just coerced or like pressured into watching this.
Yeah.
And like I said, even if you're not an anime fan, I could probably show this to my mom and she could probably watch it and say it was actually a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, my mom is not an anime fan, and she told me she watched Princess Mononoke. May or may not have been because we did a video on it. But
shout out to your mom.
yeah, she might be watching.
Yeah, shout out to. I won't even say her name.
Yeah, better not. I'll have to edit that. Yeah, no. She said she enjoyed it, and she's definitely not someone who goes out of her way to watch anything anime related. So, yeah. So yeah, this guy definitely got a huge chip on his shoulder, and that prevented him from enjoying it. What was honestly a really good fucking movie.
Yeah, like I think probably the entire time he was just like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, it also seems really pretentious saying he knew how it was going to end 20 minutes into it. Like, sounds like one of our friends, if you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, shout out to the homie. But I mean, again, I kind of figured how it was going to end, but you're right. It sounds like the guy that's always like, oh, I knew it was going to end that way.
Yeah.
So I could see that being. I could see why they said these reviews, but this is obviously not a good review to go off of.
Yeah.
If you use that review to dictate whether you're watching this movie, then obviously it's not a good one.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next one?
Next one I'm going to do, rated 4 out of 10 by no name. Oh, TK72543. Titles it Disgusting, Weird, and Confusing. This movie is weird, confusing, and disturbing. I was looking for a horror anime to watch, and I got this recommended to me. I gave it a watch. The first half was interesting, some great twists, but then it becomes weird, confusing, and disgusting. What the fuck? So.
Yeah, I mean.
So this person was obviously turned off by those controversial scenes, which can't blame someone.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's hyperbole. It's hyperbole with the whole like because we're not doing spoilers yet, right?
Not doing spoilers yet.
Oh, well, there's a scene in there that is that he's referring to, but it's hyperbolic in the sense of the scene that it is.
Yeah.
And and we'll get and I'll talk about why that is later on, but yeah, I can see it be turned off. Like obviously, like it is, and I even said it was pretty graphic.
Yeah, no, it was graphic. We had to take a minute after that particular scene.
It was an interest. It was pretty well done, but yeah, it was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
So I can agree.
And one of the overarching themes I felt of the film is like the idea of like consent and like trying to be pressured into doing things. So
yeah,
that ties into it.
Yeah, because it's like it's not necessarily like it's pressured, but it's not coercion.
Yeah,
it's like it's like pressure by like I wouldn't say social convention, but social convention in the sense of moving up the ranks. As an actress.
Yeah, you want to be successful, so sometimes some people blur their morality.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good take on it. But as far as like, what was the other? He had another point. Like, he said it was obviously the scenes, but there was one more thing he said in it.
He says he was looking for a horror anime, and it seems like he doesn't think it was a horror anime.
What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think it's a horror. Well, definitely psychological thriller, which I would
classify as horror.
Yeah.
I think it's a horror anime.
It's got a little bit of like slasher vibes and stuff like that. Yeah,
it definitely. I think again, and I've always said it. Like this whole month, we've been watching horror anime, and it's really hard to like pinpoint what a horror anime actually is because there's no jump scares.
Yeah.
But the music implies a horror anime. It's played like super hype. And that kind of gives off the feeling of like horror.
Yeah, it definitely gives you like a disturbing kind of uneasy feel, which I think is like what horror aims for.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But I think he had a good take. I mean, it might not be. It might if you're not into. I guess I shouldn't say into. If you don't want to see like scenes of like I don't know like
graphic violence.
Well, not even the violence. The graphic. Well, there is some like violence in there. Yes, graphic violence, but also like the sex parts. You know? Like obviously, if you don't like things like that, then don't watch it.
Yeah, one of the things that actually really surprised me, especially coming from Japan, is that they show like crotch shots and like pubic hair, and like that's like highly controversial for Japan, and that's in this. So.
That's probably why I was getting like a lot of bad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's this last one? This one's a good review, right?
Last one, yeah. So this guy rates it an 8 out of 10 by Plankton Rules. Titled, "To say this is a very dark anime is quite an understatement." Perfect Blue is a very, very dark anime, so don't let your kids watch it thinking it's like Pokemon or Inuyasha. It's also a confusing, mind bending sort of film, one that is certainly unique. When the anime begins, Mima is an up and coming, prepackaged Japanese girl band. However, her agent convinces her to leave this life and pursue a career in films. But this is a way to success is very dark and soul crushing. Um, I wanted to skip some of it because it contains spoilers.
Thank you.
I had where I wanted it. Okay. What's this? This is a very clever film, and its plot is deep and very strange, and I like that. But be forewarned, the film shows some very sexually explicit and also violent scenes, even by Japanese standards. The film features pubic hair, something very taboo in Japanese culture. Well done and worth seeing, but just don't let your kids see it or anyone who has been abused, as a few of the scenes just might be too intense.
And we'll give you warnings when we get into those scenes.
Yeah.
So we'll give you some trigger warnings there.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty spot on review.
Yeah, he did it. It was good. It was well done. I mean, yeah, definitely like the whole psychological part and it being extremely clever. I can see that being kind of like it was clever. Like they did a clever. It was all of it was clever. Like the way they introduced each character, each scene, and like the villain who we think it is. You know how they switched at the end. And
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
That'll be it. Let's go ahead and get into the spoiler sections.
Spoiler section, everyone. So if you have not watched Perfect Blue, go ahead and go watch it because it is a great watch.
Yeah.
But don't watch it with your kids.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not a kid movie.
All right. So spoiler section, we are starting.
Yep.
So it starts off kind of a little. It was like Power Rangers.
Yeah, I had like this weird. I don't even know what that had to do with
like,
it. Yeah.
Like it was like Power Ranger themed something, and I believe Japan was the ones that introduced the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
They introduced. I forgot what they called.
I want to say they're called like Sentai, but I might be wrong on that.
No, you're right. You're right. Like since they called it. It was like something with that regard, and they actually basically gave the entire footage to America, and America didn't even change anything except I believe the female character that is considered the Yellow Ranger.
Yeah.
That was the only thing they changed with her. Having to do with their skirt or something. But either way, but we get into that, and then the quick scene with them, and then we get into the actual CHAM.
Yeah,
CHAM, which is
the idol group.
The idol group, and we get introduced to Mimi, who is the leader. I guess
she's like what do they call him? Like she's like the kind of like the lead singer, the front man of the band.
She's like Beyonce and Destiny's Child.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, she's legit Beyonce and Destiny's Child. So we follow the story of her and her transition into being an actress, but it's really cool because it introduced and you were talking about this. It introduced the supposed villain.
Yeah, like they're basically gonna do their last concert, and and in the last concert they're gonna be like Mimi's gonna announce like this is my last song I'm gonna do, like period. I'm gonna be an actor, and then there's a scene where this guy's like looking up at her, like idolizing her, like has her in like the sunshine, and like she's like standing on the palm of his hand. And he's a very creepy looking individual.
I wrote simp.
He's a simp.
I wrote simp. Yeah, he was a simp because the scene is that like he's like watching, and then there's some like degenerates like throwing like cans at her.
Yeah,
it's funny because you don't even notice that they're throwing cans, but you see them like looking at them, and the can just flies. And they don't mention it really quick, and then it zooms in on them. Yeah, because I saw it and I was like,
that's why he turns around and starts walking towards them. Okay, I was curious because he was watching the show. Why did he stop to go to those like the delinquents?
Yeah, there was like a random can that flew over them. They didn't hit anyone. They just kept playing. But that happened, and then he goes up to these like miscreants and starts like like roughhousing them. Yeah. Obviously, it's 1 versus like 5.
Yeah, he's getting his ass beat for the most part.
He's getting punched in the face, and he's just like he's just happy. And then of course, like good fans do, I guess bad ones. They start to reciprocate the energy against these hoodlums by throwing cans and stuff at them. And that's whenever Mimi says, like, please stop. I want this to be, and then she goes into the announcement that this is going to be their last show. Yeah. That she wants to be an actress.
And then they do their last song. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the miscreants like walk off because, Mimi interjects or whatever. I think actually they're about to continue, and he's going to throw another can, and the simp guy grabs him.
Yeah. And you mentioned it. He was like grotesque.
Yeah. They make him ugly for no reason, like creepy looking, like everyone else looks normal, and this guy looks like Quasimodo.
Yeah.
or
Oh
something.
yeah. I was thinking like a sloth
Yeah.
from the Goonies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They make him look like like disfigured and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and we get he obviously is going to be a character throughout, but they paint him as the villain early on.
Yeah, for sure.
And we really don't know much about him, but we just know that he really loves Cham. And
Yeah, he loves Cham, and then it's kind of revealed that it's Mimi that he likes. He's
Yeah.
like collecting all her magazines and stuff. Like you see him like videotaping her and
like
then,
everywhere.
yeah.
So and now we can kind of get into the scene of her getting into her first acting or her first like role, and it's like in this thriller show movie that she's in that hasn't been finished being written.
Yeah, it's not being written. They don't even know who the villain in the film's going to be. It's like just getting its production. It's having like a bunch of hiccups. Like the writers are having trouble. The artists are like behind schedule. Like it's got a bunch of problems. And she's been cast in it, and she's only got one line at the start of it.
And it's actually a line she repeats later on. It's like, "Who am I?"
Yeah.
And or
who are you? I
Yeah,
believe. Yeah.
she
Who are
keeps
you?
saying that over and over again to practice it, and that's kind of like a theme about her like questioning her own identity.
Yes, for sure.
Throughout the entire show, or the entire movie, even toward the end.
Yeah.
So, did you catch the letters?
Yeah, I did catch that. So I was curious. So who handed her the letter at the very beginning? Like she's walking, she finishes her concert, she's walking to the car, and some dude reaches out and hands her a letter, and it has that little like you could tell which letter it is.
I think it's the guy. It implies it.
But he was watching and filming.
Yeah,
like
but
from
I don't even
distance.
remember grabbing the letter. I just started walking out with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know who actually handed it to him. I was actually referring to a letter later on.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, you're right. That is an important scene.
She gets a letter, and she's like reading her fan, and it's the letter tells her that there's a fan page. It's called like Mimi's
room,
Mimi's window, Mimi's room, something like that.
Yeah,
it's something like that.
Yeah. So he gets this letter, but also she forgets to feed the fucking fish.
Yeah, she forgets to feed the fish, and then she's like, "Sorry, I forgot to feed you," and then she goes to feed them.
Yeah, which is kind of a part of the story.
Yeah.
But
it's a recurring theme.
I'm referring to the letter. So there's a scene where she meets like the main actress of the story, who's like she's in a bunch of films.
The letter she gets. Yeah.
So the first time she's on film, she has there's a letter bomb that goes off.
Yeah, her director is like, I guess the manager of her company. It walks in there with a bunch of letters, and she hands like 7 letters to like the star actress, and he's like, "Oh, this one's for Mimi," and he's like, but she's on set about the film. And literally, like, I actually liked how they did it because the director's like, "All right, we're filming in 3, 2," and then he decides to open the letter for her, and it's like a letter bomb.
So I didn't know if it was for her or not.
It was for her.
Okay,
yes,
cool. Because I was trying to read the subtitles.
Yeah.
I think it did say like someone's name on it, but I didn't catch it. But okay, so the letter was for her, and it just goes off in this guy's hand.
Yeah.
We don't know if he even opened it. Maybe it just went off.
No, he opens it.
Oh.
Yeah, he definitely opened it. And then Mimi runs over there, and she's looking, and he's like bleeding from his hands and stuff, and she sees like some of the letter and says like, the next one's gonna be real.
Oh yeah. It was like it was a threat.
Yeah, that was a warning. Next one's gonna be real.
So after all that hiccup, we also get introduced to another character, Rumia.
Rumi. Yeah, Rumi.
Rumi.
There's also like another I guess she's got like 2 producers. One's a guy and one's her.
One might be the producer, one might be the manager. I don't know. It doesn't really say which one's which.
They don't get their titles.
She's also like an ex-pop star.
Mm-hmm.
So it does reveal that she was once upon a time an ex-pop star.
Yeah, she's an ex-idol, and she's also involved in managing CHAM. Like they're still around, right? Yeah. Like they don't break up because Mimi leaves. They're still doing their thing.
Yeah, they're just doing a 2-band, just them 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I heard, and they do well. Apparently they do well. They actually have a 83rd hit. They hit on the top 100.
Yeah, never before happened. I actually found it interesting. The moment like Mimi leaves the idol group, now they're seemingly doing better while she's pursuing her acting career and getting one line cameos, and all she does is say like, and it actually showed the scene like they go back to film after the letter bomb goes off, and she just says, "Who are you?" And then the person that she's about to talk with is the main actress. She's about to answer, but then like the scene is like, "Oh, stop, there's been another murder, like you have to come quick." And then like that was her scene. Like she just says, "Who are you?" They're about to explain it. It's just kind of like
but that was in the movie though.
Yeah, that's a movie. Yes,
okay.
yes.
So
the scene.
This is going to be like an overarching theme throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
Is that they're in a movie.
Yes.
While they're in this thriller movie while they're going through a thriller themselves.
Yeah.
Which I put that as like what I really like was a horror trope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I actually put that down.
Yeah, I put down the movie makes me feel like I'm going crazy. just like Mimi.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Because they kept doing that.
Yeah, there's like the serious scenes, and then like it's like a direct reflection of like what's happening. Like what's happening in the film is like what's happening in real life. Like it's almost as if the film is going this exact same pace of all the crazy shit that Mimi's going through.
Yeah.
And we're still kind of getting into that.
Yeah.
Um,
It was intense.
yeah.
It was that was kind of a hard part. That's probably why they rated it kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Because that made it really confusing.
Mhm.
But we knew it was movies when they had it like grainy.
Yeah.
And we knew it was real when it was like.
Yeah.
But I put there was a couple of hard tropes, like the scene that she goes back to her apartment before, after this whole incident happens. There's a couple of scenes that happen. The first one is like, she has the phone call.
Oh yeah.
With her mom, and then there's someone on the line, and it's like someone breathing on the line.
Yeah.
Which is a classic. Scream horror trope that they do in a lot of horror movies, where it's like,
yeah,
oh, wrong number, must be nobody.
Yeah.
And then she gets a fax, which really shows the age of this movie.
Yeah, fax.
She has a fax machine in her room. I don't know if you ever had a fax machine in your room, but yeah, she gets a whole ass fax. And what does it say? Trader.
Yeah, it's like Trader a bunch of times. Yeah. Also showing the age is like she has a computer with internet, but she doesn't know how to use the internet.
Oh, yeah. I thought they put the internet. She got a line.
Well, the girl's like, why do you have the computer? But that's a little bit later.
Yeah. So she doesn't. So it's like around the time where internet was getting popular.
Yeah. Another interesting trope that they do. So she's getting that fax machine saying Trader after the phone call, and she's like looks out her window and it's like a zoom out of like the view of her apartment. Yeah. You could see a bunch of high-rise buildings and stuff. So like, and then she closes the window, like someone could be watching her.
Yeah, and she was not like.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
That was actually right after she opened the letter too, where it's like Mimi Chan's like room or view or window or whatever it is, and it's like the link, the internet link.
Yeah, and then so you're right. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I really like that. And then I guess we can get into the internet. Like now she has internet. Let's get into that.
Yeah. She asks Rumi, what do you think this means? And she's like, oh, it's a link to an internet address. I'll show you later how to use it. And that was like she shows it to her, and then she films her first line of the scene, and then afterwards, Rumi goes to show her how to use it. Yeah. And so she's like teaching her how to use the internet or whatever. And then it's a scene of her typing in HTTPS, whatever it is. Yeah.
She actually had to type HTTPS.
Yeah. They actually did that.
/
They do that in the movie,
which is pretty funny. So now she does not know how to use the internet.
Yeah.
She goes to this page and she's just like all excited.
Yeah, she thinks it's cool. Like she's like reading it, like it's just like pictures of her and like synopsis. But then she like gets into a section where it's like as if she's writing a diary, like as if she's the one running the website. Like today I went to the market and I bought milk and some fish food like I always do. And she's sitting there thinking like, wait, like I did buy like milk and fish food today.
Yeah. They were extremely like specific. Too.
Yeah,
like,
very, very specific.
Milk with a cow on it.
Yeah.
Like, and then she starts getting like, they even do this one scene where like I stepped with my right foot instead of my left off the train.
Yeah.
And she remembers doing that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like she did that, and then we get into the scene where she's getting off the train and she starts sprinting.
Yeah, she goes to take her right foot off the step, and she's thinking about the web page, and it just freaks her out, so she starts like sprinting away. It's like full blown.
Yeah, and this is like the beginning, I think, where she starts suffering from this paranoia.
Yeah,
like this is where like the paranoia starts setting in, and she's having a hard time grasping like that there is someone watching her, supposedly.
Yeah, she begins to realize that every little aspect of her life is like on the internet, and she doesn't quite understand how. Like you could see her like looking around like at people and stuff too. Like even whenever she's like on set, she's sitting there like looking at every single individual person, and she multiple times she sees that the guy, his name is Me Mania, and they reveal his name later, the Quasimodo looking ugly dude. Yeah, from the very beginning. He's always on set watching her. He's always like there to like read her latest news, like she's giving like interviews and stuff. So she slowly starts seeing him, and I don't know if she necessarily suspects him, but I think she starts noticing that he's there a lot.
Yeah, and there's even scenes where she's like assuming he's there, like fearing that that he could or could not possibly be there.
Yeah.
So that's also kind of happening as well.
There's even scenes where she's like getting on an elevator, and then as the elevator's like closing, she sees him like standing in the door. Yeah.
So
like watching her.
Okay, trigger warning time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the scene kind of where it really.
So yeah, well, to preface it, okay, so like her producers are trying to get her more lines in the next scenes, and they're like, oh well, she's a pop idol and this and that. We can't really use that, and they're like, but we might be able to incorporate a certain scene in there, and we'll give her more lines. We'll give her a huge part of the second half of the film if you let this happen. And again, trigger warning: the scene is that she's gonna get it like doing like a strip dance.
Yes. So it follows this scene where she's like dancing, and then like they can't control the crowd, and they end up taking advantage of her, grabbing her, pulling her up, and then one of the actors, because it's acting,
Yeah, it's acting.
which is the hyperbolic part of it
yeah,
all.
and I mentioned like the idea of consent because like obviously the scene involves her getting, but she gives consent because her producer doesn't want her to, right? And she's like, no, like I want to be an actress. If this is what I have to do, like I'll do it. So she is consenting, but then the scene is very
Yeah.
very graphic, honestly. Like
Hands down, it's a really graphic scene.
it was hard to watch.
I was It was questionable like throughout. I was like, man, this
Yeah.
is really. It was done in a tasteful manner where they block off most of everything.
Yeah.
It's really just a lot of thrusting, but like her facial expression, it
Mhm.
really showed that she is. Yeah, she's just not like
Yeah.
it's actually happening now. Throughout, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but they keep cutting,
Yeah, they keep cutting.
and the actor keep going like, "I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" Like checking in on her
Mhm.
throughout.
And she's like, it's fine. And then they start redoing the scenes and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
So I do think that falls into this idea of consent that they're giving, and it was really, I think it was a kind of a break, because if you didn't do that, it felt more real than it should have.
Yeah, for sure.
So that scene happened, and it really, this is like it's like a tipping point.
That
for
is
her.
a tipping point for her. Yes.
Even her, like, I guess, producer, manager,
Rumi didn't want her to do it. She starts crying during the scene and like
Yeah.
leaves.
She starts crying. She's like, "No, you don't have to follow this line. You don't have to do this," which implied a couple things, like with Rumi, that maybe she's dealt with something like that because she
Mhm.
was a former pop idol.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really say anything about that. But this is kind of a common theme, like we're rising up, getting out of this role of being like the innocent Mimi,
Mhm.
getting to more of these serious scenes
Mhm.
that require you to be in like compromising positions, and it really did show like this, I guess, it's like what would you do to get out of your prepossessed, like your I guess pop star idol
Yeah.
status.
And I said it also kind of like one of those things where like you might reconsider your own morality. What was a hard line? He's something that she as a pop idol, she definitely would have never done anything like
Yeah.
this. But now that she's an actress and trying to grow that career, and she's presented with this opportunity, if you want to call it that,
Yeah.
she's willing to, put aside some of her morals. And morals maybe not be the correct word for it, but
I mean, yeah, fine, it works
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah,
It's like she definitely is. It's blurred lines.
yes,
She starts to blur these lines, and
Mhm.
this is also kind of when she starts having these like apparat like ghosts type.
yeah. She's like seeing her pop idol self in like the distance, or like she'll look in a mirror and see like her in her pop idol uniform,
Yeah.
and she's like saying, "No, like I'm the real Mimi, like you're the past me."
Like Mimi would never do this scene, like,
Yeah,
and just kind of always reinforcing like the pop idol that she
Yeah.
once was.
Mhm.
And it's again like it has it, there's probably a metaphor in here somewhere where it's like, how do I get out of my pop star idol? Like, how do I get rid of this old role and get more into this actress role? And this is how she's seen to do it. But it also comes in, and I wrote a little note about like who's the real villain here. Like, we haven't really had anything epic or have anything happen yet
Yeah.
where there is a villain per se.
Mhm.
But like, it's, I mean, the screenwriter, the photographer, which we're gonna get to next. Like, who are they're like like pressuring her to be in these scenes, and it's like, as like a rising up star, like you feel like you can't say no.
Yeah.
You say no, that one
Mhm.
line is, that's it, you're out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got another actress that wants to do. Yeah. So I think they're still filming like the movie. Like, yeah, they're still doing like the movie scenes or whatever. And she's giving like video interviews and stuff like that on what it's like to be an actress rather than a pop idol and stuff like that. So their career is kind of like slightly growing because of the scene she just did. It gives that implied notion. And then then there's this photographer that wants to take pictures of her as like a model, and you know, she agrees to do that, and it's another one of those ideas of like consent. Like she agrees, and they're both consenting to take, you know, these this risque photo shoot. You know, she's slowly getting naked and you know, getting risky and risky, and then finally she's just full nude. But it's giving like the illusion that like the photographer is being like extra creepy about it. Like it doesn't like feel like a natural photo shoot. Like, you know, she's consenting and he's like saying, "Oh yeah, that looks good. Now you take off your top. Now take off your panties. Oh, lean this way and put your hand behind your hair or whatever." You know, just going like he's to me he was being creepy, but it's still that idea of consent. Like she's saying it's fine. Like she
Yeah.
agreed to do it.
Yeah, it's like it's fine, it's okay, but really
Yeah.
she's like inside dying.
Yeah.
And now you kind of skipped over something, but we can tie it in right here, like where the Mimi, what's this guy's name? Mimania?
Me mania. Yeah.
Mimania. And it's this is allegedly. We don't really know if it's him yet, but the screenwriter put in that part of her getting essayed,
hmm
and then he ends up like reading about that he needs to go away. He needs to die.
Yeah.
So what happens in the next scene? They're in a parking lot, and he's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, he's hearing music, and it's that song they sang in the beginning.
Yeah. The
He's
pop
hearing the
idol
music,
song.
and he's like, "Who's there? Who's there?" And he's like freaking out, and then the elevator comes down, and out of nowhere, it's like a little boom box, a
Mhm.
little radio with that song playing, and then the elevator goes up, and he's just been slaughtered.
Yeah, he's dead.
And he also didn't finish writing like the villain or the villain in his own
Mhm.
like that's it's not a screenplay, it's his own script. He's a script writer.
Mhm.
So that happened, and then it goes into this photography scene where
Mhm.
everyone knows this photographer is known for like getting people to strip down.
Yeah.
Like they even say that. And then he also gets
He gets murdered.
but in a we're kind of jumping a little ahead.
Yeah.
Here, but the murderer is not the same guy that we saw earlier.
Yeah, it's not Me Mania, which is the creepy looking dude.
At this point, well, before we get into who it actually we think, well, who actually it is, we actually get a couple of big reveals with like some of the other characters and the story that follows through. Where the that vlog or that journal that's being out is saying that he's receiving getting emails.
Yeah,
from Mimi.
he's saying the real Mimi is sending me emails like
Yeah.
you know, the one that's doing the actress is the fake one. She's the
Yes.
fake Mimi.
That's
Yeah.
the fake. Mimi would never do a scene like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mimi would never take photos like
Yeah.
that. And
And,
it's
and that same guy goes and after she does her nude photo shoot, he goes and like is like just taking magazines out of people's hands that are buying them, and he buys up all the magazines at
Yeah.
like the bookshop so no one can see her naked.
And I was gonna tell you this. We watched it. You know what anime it reminds me of? And this might be a spoiler for the anime. Inishiko.
Oni, this one right here.
Yeah, with what is it?
Oshinoko.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like that with this
Okay.
guy, like just like I wouldn't say just simping over her, but just being like idolizing her so much
Yeah.
to the point where he thinks he's like her hero.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get all your magazines because that's not really you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy all of them, and I'm gonna let anyone read them. Like he's just buying all the magazines, and like so we get a nice scene with that. Like,
Yeah.
and again, it made me question who the villain is. Like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
guy thinks he's actually helping out.
Yeah, but yeah, he thinks he's actually helping out. It also had this like weird like so like Mimi is also like in her reflection, and she's like hallucinating like her idol self, like running around and like talking back to herself. Like she's looking in the mirror, and then like there's a scene where after she does like I want to say the photo shoot, she's like having like a breakdown like with her saying like her idol self in like the mirror like is telling her like you're tarnished now, like you're used goods essentially, like you let that stuff happen, like I'm the real idol, you can't be that anymore, like I told you should have stayed the idol, you should have never become an actress. And she has like a mental breakdown kind of saying like of course I didn't want to do it, but how else was I supposed to do my acting career, like of course I
Exactly.
didn't want to do that. And then that's I want to say that's the iconic bathtub scene.
Yes.
She's sitting in like the bathtub like with her head underwater and stuff like that,
And she's like,
and
"You bastard!"
yeah, she like screams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really good scene.
Yeah, that was.
So also her fish are dead. We haven't mentioned that.
Yeah, her fish are dead too.
And we've been thinking about this for a while. Like her fish die, and she like basically destroys her room,
hmm
just like out of anger, out of like I guess like she's mad, like she's letting the job get to her. So before I get into like there's some sleep deprivation issues that are happening after the scene, but this is kind of where the Black Swan kind of came in part for me. If you guys are familiar with Black Swan, it's a great movie. It also Whiplash follows the same line about like what an artist is willing to do to get the job done.
Okay.
Like what like blurred lines, all that, like breaking morality, breaking the personal ethics, like everything. Like are you willing to just like sacrifice to be the number one, to get out of this role that she is? And that's what Black Swan is about, being like she wants to be Black Swan. But
See, I
like,
haven't seen that movie,
yeah,
but okay.
yeah,
No,
she
I
wants
see.
to she wants to be Black Swan. That's what the whole point is. And Black Swan is like the lead actress in this play. I might be debauching it. You know, it's a I guess a musical. I really don't. But when I watched it, yeah, and like, what are you willing to do to get there? And she's been breaking all of these, like she's been breaking down like step by step, breaking down her personal ethics, like having a sex scene, posing nude, you know, and it's all leading to something. Like she's now like she's having this mental breakdown with the fish, the water scene, and she's now like sleeping. This is the part where it gets really confusing.
Yeah.
We don't know if she's asleep, she's awake, she keeps
Yeah.
sleeping, and she keeps waking up in bed. She has a whole day, she wakes up in bed. Like it's like, was that all a dream?
Yeah. Was yesterday real? Like she's asking Rumi Chan, like, was yesterday real? And she's like, of course. Like I was here yesterday. And then yeah, like she keeps like waking up, and then like they're doing the acting scenes too, like
Yes.
from that, and it parallels like perfectly. Like again, like you could almost think that she's talking about what's happening in real life, but it's like the movie scene, and then the director's like, cut. Oh, you messed up the line. You're like, oh shit. Like I thought that this was like a real scene. Like you know, it plays into like her slow descent into mania, and you know her paranoia too.
Oh yeah, and then we get this scene where she reads the journal and it says like, I went shopping the other day, and she has a bag that says like FCC that, or FGG, one of the she's holding this bag of like she just went shopping. And the next scene is the photographer has ordered a pizza, he's paying for the pizza, and it turns out that the person that's the pizza like pulls out like a ice
It's a
pick,
screwdriver. Yeah.
and starts stabbing the photographer multiple times. And then it zooms into a scene where he's like watching like a projector of like a shot for shot scene of what's happening, and her, because it's legit. It's Mimi.
Like he's actually watching a scene of the movie where the murder is happening, and like the pizza person knocks, and so he like gets up from watching the film, and yeah, he's like murdered in his apartment with like the scene playing in the background. And it was Mimi Chan that's murdering him. Like you would have thought that it was going to be Me Mania, because you know he's being set up as the villain here. And I was like, I knew it was going to be Mimi Chan. I was like, I knew it was going to be her.
I was thinking like it was going to be her, but like it was really hard, because like the way they did it, it looked, because it was a person with no facial features, no hair
wearing
up,
a hat,
and like a green shirt, and then she wakes up.
Yeah, then she wakes up, and then like her producer's like calling her like, I don't know if you've heard, but the photographer's been murdered. Like, you know, stay there, I'm coming to you. And like there's like reporters like knocking on her door, like asking her like, I heard there's a love triangle between, you know, the director was murdered and now the photographer's murdered, and they're both linked to her, and they're going on like that, like, is there a love triangle between you guys? And she's like freaking out, and she goes in her room, and she finds the FGG bag, and inside is all the bloody clothes and stuff like that.
So she believes that it was her the whole time.
She thinks it was her. So then she starts questioning reality. Is like, I must be dreaming. Like, is this a dream? Like, you know, she's like doing things, like going about her day, like not believing if like reality is real.
And now we get into the first big twist.
Yeah.
The twist now is that it's now the movie, and the movie, I guess the main actress says that this person, I forget, Yoko. Yoko is has dissociative identity disorder.
So they're filming the scene, right? And it's like a police interrogation, and Mimi is like the suspect, and she's like saying, I was a pop idol, but now I'm an actress. No, I am an actress, and stuff like that. And like it's paralleling perfectly. And she's saying, then the detective is behind the window, being like, "Oh yeah, it's a classic case of dissociative personality disorder. Her being in the strip club, you know, caused her to repress her memories and bury it all deep, and now this is her way of coping, or whatever." And then everyone's like, "Yeah, great scene." Like I thought like it was like legitimately her.
Yeah. So basically, like everything she's going through, like I was thinking, like was all in her head.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was dealing. The movie was the real life.
Yeah, I thought that too.
That to me would have been, even if they, that's one of the parts I said, if they ended there, like that was the ending, and they just kept on with that, it would have been a fantastic, still be a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
But I was like, holy shit, the movie is her real life.
Mm-hmm.
This other identity she has is the fake life.
That's what I thought too.
I was blown away. I was like, I had to lean forward and like, I was like shocked. But then of course it comes back to the like that was part of the movie, so which was really good. All right. So that was a big twist.
Yeah.
Even though it was fake, it still was like,
Yeah.
my heart was pounding.
Oh
At
yeah,
least.
yeah.
So it was a great scene. So now we can kind of get into this. And it's not the final scene, but it's the final scene
It's
with,
it's starting to get there, right?
yeah, it's with it's Me Mania.
Yeah. So like they actually are continuing to film. She's still waking up and having these like she's like waking up like in bed, and her room is getting more and more cluttered.
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then like it's flashing to her attempting to do scenes and stuff. And she's like getting lines wrong. Like she's like thinking in her head that she's like talking to like Rumi,
Yeah.
and she's actually on set and the director's like wrong line, like what are you doing? And then she's like seeing like Me Mania in the background and like having like like little mini breakdowns and stuff. And then she's waking up and having to do a few more scenes, and then they finally wrap it up. They're like, that's the final scene. I forget what the final scene is.
I mean, it really, it just, it ends with, all I remember is that they clapped and they were excited, like great job,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
were phenomenal.
Everything's over. The
Yeah.
film's done. Like great job. You did it. You were excellent actress or whatever.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get to, she's like, go get dressed. We're gonna go do the wrap up party.
Mhm.
And while she's getting dressed, she runs into Me Mania.
Yeah.
Right after she runs into the main actress.
Yeah, the main actress is walking down the hall, and then she gets her name wrong, or whatever, and then she makes fun of her for forgetting her lines and continues to walk off.
Yeah. Well, she didn't get her name wrong per se. She's called her by the actress.
The actress's name.
She called her by the movie name, not
Mhm.
her actress's name.
Mhm.
And then she says a line from the movie, like, "Don't let your like delusion or the illusions."
Yeah, don't. Yeah, I don't know. I have to go back.
Not
and look.
verbatim, but she's like, "Don't let your, the illusions are not real" or something.
Yeah.
And then she walks off, and then that's when she runs into Me Mania. Of course, the actress is now gone that she bumped him, and then we get this scene where like Rumi
Yeah.
is like, "Where's Mimi? She's taking too long." The director actually goes like, "All right," or producer or manager goes, "All right, take her home. I'm gonna go." And then she gets this scene where she gets attacked by Me Mania and have this like, man, it was
It parallels the movie scene like almost exactly. Like her movie sexual assault scene is like it's the exact same stage. Like it's that stage of the set. She's like back room, and like Me Mania is attacking her, and
Yeah.
they're like fumbling all over the place, and then the fight ends up tumbling out onto like the stripper stage where the main scene was like
yeah.
filmed, and it's paralleling that. And and then Me Mania is going on like you're not the real Mimi, like I'm gonna kill you, like you're the fake Mimi, like the real Mimi emails me and that's not you.
Yeah, which also pointed that there's somebody else in
Yeah,
the mix.
yeah.
But this is what I didn't like. Like there was no need for him to like try to essay her.
Yeah. Well, he was told to kill her.
Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
he was told to kill her in the emails from the real
not
Mimi.
kill her, but like actually like put his like get him like straddle her.
Maybe.
Like, I didn't like that because it didn't make sense as like for his character. That's why I didn't rate this a 5. Was one of the big scenes like
Yeah.
that. He was trying to like actually like have sex with her.
Yeah.
But there's no reason for him to. I mean, maybe because he idolized her, but then again, he was already like dissociative like about
Yeah.
the whole scene about like,
Yeah.
he was like didn't believe that it was actually Mimi.
Yeah.
But and then we get
Yeah,
this,
I guess it is kind of out of character, but it was like just the similarities and the direct
Oh.
parallel to the scene was like, first it was, fiction in that it was a film, and now it's actually really happening.
yeah, okay, I can see
Yeah.
that being the reason. But and then we get this like last scene where she picks up a hammer, which I was surprised they didn't give her the screwdriver.
Oh yeah.
Because like she's been like using a screwdriver to kill people, like it would just kind of go with that. But she picks up like a little mini hammer, like a little mallet, and just pops him in the head. And there's no blood,
Yeah.
no blood at all.
It basically knocks her out, or Mimi knocks Me Mania out,
And then she leaves and goes to get Rumi, and then Rumi comes back and basically he's gone.
they both go back to go check on him, and he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so like, I don't know how far along this is, but then it turns out that Me Mania is murdered, and it was not Mimi that killed him. Like someone else murdered him because she hit him in the head with a hammer, and then there's like his dead body, like with someone else. Who was that other person?
So the scene is the director, because she goes, "I got to call the director right now, or the producer, the manager, whoever that guy is. I'm gonna leave early." She's like,
okay.
I think it's the manager. He's all, "I got to call my manager," and while she's calling him, the phone's ringing. It shows his body. He's like missing eyes, and then he falls over, and then who's there with him? Mania.
Me Mania.
We now know that. And I said, like, what was this? Like, he killed him, then killed himself.
Yeah,
It really doesn't touch on that. And then we get, oh my god, dude, this movie's fucking awesome. I'm sorry for swearing, guys, but this movie gets so good right here. Like it's like the last like 15 minutes of this movie, by the way,
Mhm.
if not 10 minutes. We get the scene where she's been seeing herself pop up on screen, her idol self,
Yeah.
like in her costume and everything. Like I'm the real Mimi. I'm the real Mimi. Like I'm the Mimi.
Yeah,
You're not the Mimi.
she's hallucinating and seeing herself everywhere, like constantly throughout the movie, having conversations with herself.
Yeah, exactly. And this person just is like taking her spot multiple times. Like even
Mhm.
like scenes where they're like she's like I'm still with Cham. Like I'm still with
Yeah, she's like watching Cam like perform a dance, and she's like imagining herself being still on stage with them, or they're like giving an interview and she's imagining herself as like the third person also there, and like like freaking out, like having like delusions again.
Yeah, and we think this whole time that she's hallucinating. She might be like
I think
delusional,
she is like
but
hallucinating slightly, but
but there's someone playing a part. Obviously, somebody's been emailing
yeah,
this meme mania,
yeah,
and we get this fucking epic scene where she walks out her like fake persona of like a fake idol, and it's her and I got a new outfit, and then it zooms out and you see her like the pop idol Mimi,
Mhm.
and then mirror image, and it's Rumi the whole time.
Yes, yeah,
It's freaking Rumi.
Yeah.
And she was like, Rumi, what are you doing? And she was like, Rumi, I'm Mimi.
yeah.
I'm the real Mimi. And then we get the scene where she tries to stab her. And this, oh man, it's so good, dude. The scene, she goes and starts trying to kill her. She said there can only be one Mimi.
Yeah, and she was like, "Me Mania couldn't get the job done, so I'm gonna finish it myself."
Oh my
Yeah, that was a huge twist. I actually didn't see that coming. Although I mentioned that they draw the evil characters as real ugly. They did draw Rumi real ugly, and I kind of after that review, I was kind of thinking about that.
Yeah, the '90s were like the ugly. Like if you were grotesque, you were the villain.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
was kind of the way they did it. But
Yeah.
also like
I loved during these scenes, like it's going back and forth between like she's looking like Mimi Chan, like her young self, like the mirror image of her just wearing the red dress,
Yeah.
and then like in the mirror it's just Rumi, yeah, like kind of older,
chunkier.
yeah, chunkier.
Yeah. Man, so like they were hinting at Rumia kind of like the crying during the
Yeah.
sex scene, like the whole like I was a former pop star.
Mhm.
Like they were hinting at her kind of throughout, like small hints, very subtle.
Yeah, I honestly I didn't catch that. I did not predict it coming. That caught me off guard.
I thought about it, like I was like, I wouldn't be funny if it was her. That's what I was thinking
Yeah.
during the whole like pop star scene and the crying scene. I was thinking about that, but she ends up like chasing her with this knife, trying to stab her. By the way, she's like, so it looks from her point of view, she's like levitating, like
Yeah.
gliding,
Yeah.
like as Mimi, and then we get that
like skipping along, like she jumps off a building and like gracefully like glides down or whatever.
and then we get like the window shot of her, and
Yeah.
it's like Rumia like drooling,
Manically running,
sprinting.
yeah, just crazed looking.
yeah, just like it was a great scene.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And we get this scene, they get in this fight, she gets stabbed, she's already been stabbed twice.
Yeah, no, and she's like fucking Mimi up, like she's stabbing her in like the chest, like she's like pinned her down, like stabbed her, and then she manages to kick her off, and she's picking up like an umbrella, and, like stabbing her in the back as she's chasing her. Like it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
And Mimi manages to like knock off her like it's not, I don't know if it's a tiara.
Well,
It's like her wig, right?
Yeah, she's grabbing her, she pulls off her wig, and I guess throws it or something. It falls out.
Yeah.
And she ends up like freaking out, like you took away my like identity, and she's freaking out.
She realizes she's Rumi because she could see herself in the mirror, I think.
Maybe like there's something there where like you took away my identity, now
Yeah.
I'm like lashing out.
Mhm.
So and then there was like a window that broke, and Rumi goes after their wig and just
Yeah, she falls and like stabs herself.
I
Like
thought it was on the neck. I
no,
don't know.
because after that she's about to get hit by a truck,
Oh,
and
okay.
and Mimi, they knock each other out of the way.
Yeah. Which was a really good scene because
Yeah.
the truck's lights made it seem like Rumia, who thinks she's Mimi, is like the pop star idol.
Yeah, she's standing on stage, before a grand performance. Yeah,
Yeah. So then she saves them. Then they call the doctor, and now we get this last scene
the
where
finale.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was
That
kinda-
was the finale. This
Yeah.
is like the closing.
Yeah. Which if it
scenes.
ended there, like ended where they're like call the cops and we knew nothing. Again,
Still would have been great. Yeah.
fantastic movie. But the scene is they wake up. Rumia is now like in some kind of like mental health facility,
Hmm.
and Mimi goes visits her from time to time, and they're even like, "Man, that looks just like Mimi."
Yeah.
No, that's a Mimi imposter or something like that.
Yeah. She's like got longer hair now and she's wearing glasses. But the doctor's essentially telling her like, yeah, occasionally she knows she acts like Rumi, but for the most part, it shows her like standing in front of a mirror, like holding like flowers, like, she's still Mimi Chan, the idol. Rumi is.
And then she goes to the car, and she does this scene where I kind of figured she gets the window,
Mm-hmm.
the rear view window, whatever it is, and she looks at herself and she pulls her glasses down. She goes, "I know who you are."
Yeah.
And
She's not seeing the reflection of herself as the pop idol,
yeah,
so she's has that catharsis and gains her own identity back.
yeah. So man, and then ends and the credits roll and man, dude, honestly, like this movie was so great.
Yeah.
It was such a good movie. Yeah, it was a slow burn, but man, when it got there, it got there.
Yeah, like I said, it was like kind of like
Yeah.
a train rolling, like it's got to chug a few times, and then,
Yeah.
damn, it was good. It
Yeah,
was good.
so it was just a phenomenal. I'm glad we watched it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I probably wouldn't watch it again to be honest, just because I know how it ends and like I would if I lost my memory, please make me watch this again. If I get dementia, put this on every day.
the only way I'd watch this again is if someone was like, I've been put me on like a good horror anime, and it's like 3 years from now, I'd be like, you know what, I got one for you, and
Yeah.
we'd throw on Perfect Blue, and it's only an hour and 20 minutes. It's real quick. Like I said, and he said, a little slow at the beginning, but well worth it.
Yeah, so guys, make sure to check out our channel. This is go ahead and like, subscribe, go ahead, share, tell all your friends about us. Like we're really like we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, Instagram, we're on Twitter. Follow us, show some love, guys. I mean this is a great episode. This was a great movie. Like check it out if you haven't checked it already. You got anything else?
No.
All right, guys. Well, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Later. You always say stuff like that at the end of it, and I gotta.